And this room here, this is where my brother stayed up until he died quite recently.
This is one of 2 bedrooms Linda Charnock has been told she no longer needs. It means since April she's had to pay nearly £25 a week to stay in this 4-bedroom council house in Bolton, where she's lived for 16 years and brought up her family. The government call it the spare room subsidy, but to people like Linda, it's a bedroom tax. She says she does need the rooms, but is struggling since being made redundant last year.
My son-in-law is in the armed forces, and my daughter likes to come home with the 3 children, through my 3 grandchildren, especially when he's been on tours. He's on a tour of Afghanistan, he's had 2 already, and she's been home at that time. Also, I've got my mother's and my brother's ashes scattered in the garden, and when they got scattered, I didn't even think about I'd ever move from here.
Linda was among hundreds of campaigners who spoke to the United Nations Special Investigator on Housing, who's now said the so-called tax should be axed.
I have been hearing hundreds of testimonies, personal stories. I have been receiving also written testimonies from people affected by this policy, with a lot of threats in their human rights. If a person decides to stay, that can compromise, for instance, the ability of the person to eat.
But this footage of the UN official from a meeting in Manchester has prompted the government to accuse her of having an agenda.
Stop and suspend this bedroom tax immediately.
One Conservative grandee has launched a personal attack.
Raquel is somebody from Brazil, where they have 50 million inadequate homes, and the idea that somebody formerly from the Socialist Workers' Party or something comes over with an agenda and writes a report which is so ludicrously biased, not even using the correct name for the policy, fails to meet any of the ministers involved in the policy or even the department involved, is just crazy, and that's why I'm writing to the Secretary-General.
The government introduced the policy because they say it's unfair that taxpayers should be paying for people who live in council houses to have spare rooms. They say it's a policy that should save around £500 million a year. But whether or not it's fair depends on which side of the political fence you're looking from. Becky Johnson, Sky News, Bolton.